Welcome to the Google Cloud Update for the week of July 6th, 2026. Today is Friday, July 10th, 2026, and we are bringing you all the exciting tech news and announcements from the Google Cloud universe over the past week, starting from Monday, July 6th. This week, we have a packed episode for you. We will start by looking at a major advance in secure code execution, Cloud Run Sandboxes. From there, we will explore database improvements like Spanner's new Gemini-powered SQL fixer and the extremely cool Data Agent Kit extension that lets you code and run queries right from your favorite IDE. Then, we will walk through the upcoming features and fixes in Looker's 26.12 release before wrapping up with critical GKE and infrastructure updates and a quick summary of this week's identity and access management changes. We have a lot of ground to cover, so let us jump right in. First up, let us talk about serverless and AI agent development. Google has announced a fantastic new feature in public preview, Cloud Run Sandboxes. Now, we know that hosting AI agents is a huge trend, but running untrusted code, especially code dynamically generated by an LLM or uploaded by end users, can be a massive security headache. If that code goes rogue, it could compromise your application, leak credentials, or escape into your cloud network. Enter Cloud Run Sandboxes. This preview feature lets you spawn secure, near-instant, lightweight, isolated execution boundaries right inside your existing Cloud Run service instances. Whether your agent needs to run a Python script to do math or spin up a headless browser to scrape a page, these sandboxes isolate that process entirely. They boot up in just a few milliseconds. In fact, in Google tests, running 1,000 sandboxes averaged only 500 milliseconds of latency. Security-wise, they enforce strong boundaries. By default, outbound network access is blocked. They cannot access your environment variables or the Google Cloud metadata server, and they view the host file system as read-only, sending any modifications to a secure in-memory overlay. Best of all, they run on your already allocated CPU and memory, meaning there's no extra charge to use them. How awesome is that? Staying on the serverless track, if you are standardizing on Java Generation 2 and wanting to modernize your App Engine standard apps, there is a new preview path to migrate from the legacy App Engine images service to Cloud Run. You can now route image transformation calls to a Cloud Run helper service while your primary app continues running on App Engine. Now let's talk databases. For developers using Spanner, debugging SQL queries in Spanner Studio just got a whole lot smoother. Google has introduced Gemini and Spanner Studio in preview. Now, if you run a query and it hits a syntax or database error, you can simply click a button called Fix. Gemini will compare your original query with a recommended correction line by line and even explain exactly why the change was made. No more scratching your head over a missing comma. For enterprise AI admins, Gemini Enterprise has rolled out managed organization policy constraints for data connectors, now generally available. You can use these to restrict external data sources, limiting connections to secure environments like Jira, Box, or Confluence, and control allowed egress fully qualified domain names for your data stores. Additionally, Gemini Enterprise has expanded regional support. It is now generally available with an allow list for the Japan region, which is Asia Northeast 1, and the United Kingdom region, Europe West 2. This brings in-region, at-rest data residency and regional machine learning processing, including support for the latest Gemini 3.5 Flash model. Note that if you want to use the Skills Feature Management toggle in Gemini Enterprise, that is also generally available with an allow list. You will just need to contact your Google Account Manager to get enabled. Lastly, for those using the Gemini Enterprise Agent Platform, formerly known as Vertex AI, there are some partner model deprecations rolling out, so make sure to check the release notes to see if any of your integrated third-party models are affected. Next, let us dive into our data and analytics stack, where we have a wealth of updates across BigQuery, Looker, Bigtable, and Knowledge Catalog, which, as a reminder, is the new name for Dataplex. Speaking of Knowledge Catalog, a new preview feature allows you to use the BigQuery Data Transfer Service to automatically transfer metadata from external sources like PostgreSQL and Microsoft SQL Server right into your Knowledge Catalog. This makes indexing and searching across enterprise metadata much simpler. If you are a developer, you are going to love the new Data Agent Kit extension, now in preview. This is an extension for agent coding tools and IDEs like Visual Studio Code, Antigravity, and Cursor. Under the hood, it uses Model Context Protocol servers to let you interact with BigQuery, Cloud SQL, and Cloud Storage directly inside your editor. You can browse datasets, manage pipelines, run queries, and even prompt your AI agent to build and test things in Python or SQL without ever leaving your IDE. It is a total game changer for developer productivity. In BigQuery SQL engine updates, multi-level aggregation in Google SQL is now available in preview. This means you can finally pass an aggregate function as an argument to another aggregate function. Also, an updated version of the Simba ODBC driver is now available for download. However, there are two temporary deprecations or suspensions to note. First, support for hybrid search, using the vector search function to combine semantic and lexical keyword searches, has been temporarily disabled while Google works to restore it. Second, due to API changes on Meta's side, support for the Ad Insights MMM report and Facebook ads transfers has been temporarily disabled, though existing transfers will continue running with that specific report's data omitted. Now, let us talk Looker. Looker version 26.12 is rolling out to Looker original instances on a schedule starting Sunday, July 12, 2026, with final deployments wrapped up by July 26, 2026. This is a feature-rich release. First, table row grouping is now available in preview for both Looker Original and Google Cloud Core. It lets you display table chart data hierarchically in collapsible groups, customized using a new grouping menu options. Additionally, the KPI visualization preview is now enabled by default, and the increased row limit feature is officially out of labs and generally available. On the security front, Looker Google Cloud Core now supports FIPS 100-3 Level 1 compliance, and any existing FIPS 100-2 compliant instances will automatically upgrade. And Google has finally added a recycle bin for Looker. Now, when you delete a Looker Core instance, it is moved to the trash for 7 days before permanent deletion, giving you a safe window to restore it. Looker 26.12 also includes a massive list of fixes. Google has resolved folder crashes with disabled integrations, advanced control governance access bugs for IAM admins, layout spacing on OIDC and SAML authentication pages, and issues where clicking Reset Styles reset entire custom palettes. They have also fixed workflow visibility, off-center KPI visualizations, stale caching in the LookML validator, PDF cutoffs on custom visualizations, and row total calculation errors on empty dashboard tiles. Furthermore, they cleared up bugs causing browser flickering and drill modals, verbose stack traces on invalid embed URLs, and a 401 error caused by forward slashes in the OAuth client ID. Finally, Looker CI run alert emails now include the run ID in the subject to prevent messy email threading. Let us round out this data segment with Bigtable. First, the Bigtable client library for Go now officially supports Data Boost, allowing Go developers to execute high-performance, isolated read jobs and queries. Next, tag binding is now generally available. You can bind tags directly to your Bigtable instances during creation and enforce mandatory assignments using organization policies. Also generally available is the Bigtable agent skill called Big Table Basics, available in the public Google Agent Skills repository. This allows you to give AI agents the ability to perform big table administrative tasks, design schemas, run Google SQL queries, and diagnose hotspots. Finally, you can now use organization policy constraints to manage continuous materialized views in GA. And Bigtable now supports direct connectivity, allowing traffic to bypass the Google front end entirely under certain criteria to optimize performance and reduce latency. Now let us turn our attention to GKE, networking, security, and infrastructure. For GKE, the network-optimized C4N machine series is now available on standard and autopilot clusters running GKE version 1.36.0, GKE.3009002, or later. This is fantastic if your workloads are highly network-intensive. We also have updates for cluster monitoring. In GKE version 1.34 and later, Google Cloud Managed Service for Prometheus can collect pressure stall information, or PSI, metrics from cAdvisor. These metrics help you track CPU, memory, and I/O congestion or stall times on your containers, pods, and nodes. For standard cluster operations, the maximum number of nodes you can upgrade simultaneously using surge upgrades is now 100. This means the sum of your max surge and max unavailable settings can be no higher than 100. Additionally, in GKE version 1.35.3 and later, you can now run GPU workloads on confidential GKE nodes with G4 machine types and NVIDIA RTX Pro 6000 GPUs in preview, keeping your active workload data encrypted in memory. There is also a new preview for GKE version 1.36.0 and later that lets you enable logging of vertical pod autoscaler decisions directly in Cloud Logging, making it much easier to understand why the autoscaler adjusted your pod sizes. Lastly, GKE Gateway now supports Backend Mutual TLS, or MTLS, which allows the GKE Gateway load balancer to authenticate its identity to backend pods by presenting client certificates, utilizing standard Gateway API specs. In other database and connectivity updates, AlloyDB External Search now supports Apache Solr in preview using the External Search FDW extension. Meanwhile, Managed Service for Apache Kafka now supports topic compression using ZSTD algorithm to save on storage and transfer bandwidth. For application delivery and networking, Cloud CDN and external application load balancers now support self-service private bucket access for cloud storage buckets in GA. This allows you to serve private assets securely using IAM permissions on a Google Managed Service account. Connectivity tests can now analyze proxy network load balancers configured with server name indication, or SNI, routing for TLS traffic. And Cloud Armor pre-configured rules now support mod security, core rule set 4.22 as a rule source in GA, making it easier to fine-tune your web application firewall defenses. Over in Service Mesh, the Envoy compressor filter is now GA in the regular release channel, and the Envoy Lua filter is available in preview. For key management, the Cloud KMS Overview dashboard now features an asymmetric post-quantum cryptography, or PQC, insights chart in GA. You can use this dashboard to instantly see which of your asymmetric keys are vulnerable to potential attacks from future quantum computers, allowing you to proactively modernize your security posture. For VMware users, Google Cloud VMware Engine has several updates. Custom organization policy constraints are now GA. Self-service management for customer-managed encryption keys, or CMEK, is also GA, complete with an auto-rekey feature that integrates with KMS key rotation to rotate your keys automatically without manual work or downtime. And in preview, you can now configure disaster recovery using Jetstream to set up VMware Engine as a recovery site. Over at Chronicle, which is now Google Security Operations, there is a notice of a minor calculation correction in the ingestion metrics. You might see a temporary apparent spike in ingestion graphs between June 29th and today, but rest assured, your actual log volumes and billing are unaffected. Finally, the Contact Center AI platform pre-release notes introduce direct access points for chats. enabling API-initiated chats to route straight to specific queues. They have also shipped a massive list of integration fixes for Salesforce and Zendesk, visual fixes for voice messages, and general performance tuning. Let us wrap things up with a quick overview of identity and access management changes for this week. Several key roles have reached general availability this week. In Cloud Asset Inventory, the Cloud Asset Admin and Cloud Asset Editor roles are now GA. In Cloud DNS, the DNS Editor and DNS Viewer roles have also reached GA. And for Discovery Engine users, 5 specialized Cloud Notebook LM roles are now GA: Notebook Editor, Notebook LM Owner, Notebook LM User, Notebook Owner, and Notebook Viewer. As for new permissions, the Customer Engagement Suite Service Agent role for Gemini Enterprise Customer Experience has received a wide list of new agent, app, evaluation, tool, and guardrail management permissions. Data catalog roles now have permissions to view locations in Dataplex, which is now Knowledge Catalog, matching new location viewer permissions. New permissions were also added to manage service for Apache Spark under dataproc.batches.compute tuning config, to memory store for starting and finishing migrations, and to network security for managing firewall endpoint verdict change requests. Finally, Parameter Manager has added permissions for tag binding and template version rendering, both of which are supported in custom roles. And that is a wrap for this week's Google Cloud Update. Hopefully, your AI agents do not go too wild in those new Cloud Run Sandboxes. From post-quantum cryptography planning in KMS to the incredible developer flexibility of the new Data Agent Kit, Google is continuing to bridge the gap between heavy enterprise power and seamless developer workflows. Thanks for tuning in. Keep building, stay secure, and we will see you next week for another episode of the Google Cloud Update.